Good afternoon. I'm with Sajal Saxena. Did I get your pronounce your name right, Sajal?
Yes, Ian, that's Sajal Saxena. Yep,
Great stuff. And you are head of delivery and client engagement
yep.
for Converge AI, isn't it?
Converge AI. Yes, yes,
So, and on your website, it says a boutique data science firm focused on empowering businesses with artificial intelligence capabilities. Is that up to
yes.
date, or is that how it is?
I think it is the same. So we are 120 young and I would say brilliant talent working on the latest technology, which is AI. Now the AI is the buzzword all around, but we call ourselves still smaller than the firms that are existing in the market right now, and that's where the description goes like. But we are trying to put ourselves as niche technology service providers, right? So that's where our focus is on AI.
Yeah, and so on that point, on the niche, what is the niche? Because AI is massive, isn't it? So what is your
Yeah.
niche?
Okay. So like you rightly asked, right? So AI is huge, and in last 6 months, suddenly there's everybody's talking about AI, right? Even if you go to a grocery shop, there will be something or is AI generated, and everybody wants to start using Chat GPT and create products and everything, right? But I think AI is much more than that, because that whatever we are seeing on Chat GPT and things like that, that is still a very product centric sort of things. When we call ourselves niche, we are actually working with enterprises, we are working with small and medium sized businesses, we are working with startups, right? So these are very three different type of customers which want to use AI in a very different way, right? They want to use them to solve their business problems, they want to use it to monitor, they want to use it to have a better customer experience, better employee experience. So all these things constitute into one of the solutions for each of these three customers that I put up, right? So enterprise, they have a very different set of problems, small and medium size, and then the startups. So that's what we do. So we do everything in AI.
Tell me, in terms of you mentioned those three different groups. Obviously, the startup, small business, and the big enterprise. And is it just what they're trying to do that's different, or is it their approach that's different? What is it that's different between those groups as you see it?
So AI, when I talk about startups, right? So startups are trying to actually solve a problem with their applications. I mean, 90% of them. So they are trying to create a product which is going to address a certain gap in the market, right? So they are very agile. They don't need too many processes, because they are looking at solving the problem head on. The moment you move to small and medium sized businesses, they are very tight on budgets, to be honest. They know how the technology needs to be used, because still they are not big enough to invest the millions of dollars into the technology. So they look at a lot of things on the impact side of thing. How does it work, whether it helps me in automating, whether it helps me in business process and things like that. And when you look at enterprises, enterprises already have a technical landscape, right? They have been working for more than 15 years, 20 years. They have seen the rise and fall of different technologies, and now AI has come through. So they know how AI needs to get integrated into their overall technical landscape as well as business benefits. So Ian, I was just reading one of the reports from Harvard Business, and they were saying that the return on investment on AI technologies will be more than 130% over 3 years of time. So all the enterprises are looking into that fashion. And let me tell you that the more we are working with enterprises, there is also that progression which I am seeing, right? So enterprises, they want to first do a POC, right? With a lesser budget, lesser, anything which is low hanging fruits, they want to get their hands on. And then they are trying to see, okay, how do I move to the next level to get organization into AI? So that is also a big gap between how do we get AI into enterprises or AI into any organization in that matter.
Yeah, yeah. And where is the adoption curve as you see it at the moment? Are people? I mean, I get the feedback that some people have already kind of almost tried it and dismissed it because it didn't work for them, and others have really just not even done anything. What are you seeing in terms of adoption?
I think adoption is the challenge. So there were three challenges that I see, in last 18 months. So when suddenly it all starts. So AI was there, long time, and people were working. We heard of data scientists 3 years before, but it was not catching up the way it has. The
Yeah,
moment Chat GPT and generative AI came into picture, suddenly there is this buzz around, right? So how I'm seeing the problem is in the user adoption is that the biggest problem is education and awareness. Now the industry has started looking at AI as a magic wand, right? They feel that if you if you get into AI, the things will get resolved. But I don't think it happening in this way. It has to be really progressive.
So, in terms of the level of adoption or the approach to adoption, what are you seeing, Sajal, in the market in your experiences?
Okay, so with adoption, I think there is still a lot of learning curve for the organizations, because the organizations have been in a process of seeing the outcomes right away while they are investing their money. They want to see the outcome. But with AI, the models are still getting evolved. So every day there is a new model which is even more powerful than the previous one. Now that depends on a lot of data it gets trained on. So the accuracy is still a question. And
Yeah,
businesses, they want an accuracy, at least what I have seen is at least more than 70%. And
yeah,
that's a big number to get into an outcome. So what we are seeing is that when they do the POC, they are clear that okay, we want to have a 70% accuracy. This is what it is. But there has to be certain sort of education and awareness also, that it is there are chances that you may go to 60%, you may go to 65%, not because of the LLM model, but because of the data you have given to LLM, because of the conditions that evolve out of the data, because of the noise that your data has, right? And then the other economic conditions, so there are a lot of forecasting that happens for one of our customers, and they want to do a forecasting scenario with us, right? An AI based forecasting. Now this
yeah,
forecasting has a lot of demand, I mean a lot of things or variables that I would say. So you
yeah,
have historical data, right? That okay, during Christmas season and during maybe the end of the year, there is a sudden huge demand, because that is a
mm,
festive season and they are a confectionery which work, chocolates and things like that. So they know that there is a peak in demand. While we were doing it, we also found that 2020, 2021, 2022, there was not such demand because that data was of COVID. So
right,
obviously that data was not the right data to do the forecasting. That's the second
yeah,
part. Then the third part is, it all depends on customers, then the region, then the dealers, then the retailers, and the product that you have. So there are n number of variables which come into picture, and then that forecasting happens. So we were able to reduce that from 30% error forecasting to now 14% error with AI. So earlier it was
yeah,
all done via some tools or manual, but now with AI generated tool, we are able to reduce that forecasting error. So these are some numbers, right? Now they are still working on that. How can we get from 14% to 4% maybe? So in my opinion, like you said, the adoption has to be progressive. But at the same time, I have also seen few of the customers who did the POC, and then the POC died its own death, right? Because there was no other plan to take it forward, right?
yeah,
They felt that hey, this is not meeting anyways, my user still has to go because your accuracy is 70%, so I'm not going to move forward with it, I'm not going to put more money into it. Whereas
yeah.
we were trying to convince them that hey, this is phase 1, let's move to phase 2, let's move to phase 3, and that is where you will start getting more return on your investment.
Yeah, yeah. But let me ask the question. I mean, I think when I go back to the introduction of chat technologies before AI was really kind of going strong, a lot of the problems I think people experienced with chat was that they didn't have any captured data really going on about the conversations before, and so there wasn't really anything to train on or educate a chat bot to understand. Are we experiencing something similar with AI then, you think, Sajal, where effectively you need that kind of weight of evidence almost to begin with to actually start educating and feeding? And until you get that, is there not a risk that you're almost premature because you haven't got the information to train the chatbot with? Sorry, with
Yeah,
the
and that
AI
is
with.
yeah, that is a problem, because the moment we start interacting with a client on an AI journey, this is the first question that we have, that what is the data that you have to
Yeah,
train? Is it
yeah,
5 years data, is it 7 years data? And that's where we say that for AI, AI is the, in the whole chain of business processes. You start the business, right? And then you store the data of the transactions that you are doing. Then we moved into data analytics, and now with data analytics we have moved to AI. All right. So
yeah,
there was, for example, there was SAP or Oracle, which were doing the enterprise resource planning. Then you had all these tools like Tableau, Power BI, and then you had Databricks, Microsoft, and now you have these AI tools. So when you
yeah,
see the whole chain of things, the way it has happened over 10 years, you will realize that data is the underlying factor to success. All right,
Yeah.
now like you said that if you don't have data, like the problem with startups, right,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to build an application to fill a gap. Now I don't have data, right, because I have to either syndicate that data, create that data, or go to Google, get some data which is freely available, and then
Yeah.
try to create something, an application which brings interest to investors, or which actually solves the problem. I'll just share this example. So one of my friend is building a sports platform, right, so he's building a AI platform based on a game cricket, right, which is very popular in
Right.
India. But
Yeah.
he needs to have the data, so he's telling the players that how better you can become, right, how can I bat well, how can I bowl well, things like that. So now he has gone to the grounds and captured the data, because that data is not available. So he has almost captured 6,000 videos of players to get that data. All right, so your question is bang on. Before you move into AI, you have to be ready with your data that you want to train the models with.
Yeah. 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 Makes sense. Let me take you back a step. Tell me how Sajal um, Converge AI came about, and what are you converging?
Yes. So I think 6.5 years back, our three founders, right, they did professional corporate jobs, and then they came together. And at that time, I think there was nothing on AI, right? There was just this computer science graduates going to work for data science, things like that, right? It was a very different,
Yeah.
very niche stream. So our founders got together and they looked at AI, and they are all engineers basically. So they said that, okay, let's start solving problems with AI. And that time NLP, deep learning, and proper data science was the thing. So they started solving these problems, and that's where they founded Converge, and that's where they started the journey. So I joined Converge 2 years back. So before that, my 21 years were in enterprise level organizations, from supply chain to data and analytics. But
Yeah.
while when I met these founders, and when I saw what they are doing, I was, like, there were goosebumps, because they were actually solving problems. They were actually doing AI projects, right? So there are many companies which claim that they are AI solvers or AI solution providers, but not many have got the real time experience. But Converge
Yeah.
has got that experience. And what we are trying to converge is basically the business problems with technology. So that's
Yeah.
what we say, that we are not only the technology providers. We sit with clients, we have long workshops to first of all understand them, what is the problem,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
bring AI to it, right? It is not just AI which will solve their problems. And with AI, I have seen that you need to understand more business than any other
Mm.
technology, because you are expecting AI to do a work of a human, right? I mean, if I have to set at a very high level, right, and then maybe 10 humans at a time at a single click. So you need to
Mm.
understand more deeper that what the business is actually trying to get out of this project, right?
And what is the secret sauce, as it were, that Converge AI has got that actually allows it to serve its customers or clients better than perhaps somebody that's literally just walking in off the street as a new supplier in AI?
I think the experience that we have received, right, in this 6.5 years, and like I said, the projects that we are doing, they have been absolutely phenomenal. Because
Mm.
the gamut of customers that we have, you have startups, you have small and medium sized business, and then you have enterprise level customers, right? And three of
Mm.
them have very different variety of problems. We realized the basic theme of how AI needs to get into the systems, into the organizations, right? How does the evolution of AI should happen? you,
Yeah.
you need not go big bang, you need not go for a 6 months 8 months AI project immediately, right? Let's do a 6 weeks POC. So that's where we also started POC factory for organizations who just want to experience AI, right? So in my opinion, I have seen three types of customers. One, customers which are basically, they don't know anything, they want to get into AI, and that's where they seek help. The second
Yeah.
one, where they have started their AI journey, but somehow they got disillusioned, somehow they didn't get the results, and they're off, right? Now they need help. And the third
Mm.
ones are the ones who have already into the AI journey, and now they want to advance through it, right? And I think
Yeah.
Converge serves all the three customers in a proper systematic manner. And I think that is the secret sauce. We don't have one size fit all sort of solutions to give everybody.
With many customers, I think, Sajal, where they're jumping off from is they're probably using reporting systems. They might have dashboards. They've got Power BI. What's the gap? What are they missing out on if they're not exploring AI as that next layer?
Okay, so the difference between the dashboards and AI is that, so if you want to create a dashboard, I mean, just a simple example, if you want to create a dashboard, you have a limited number of data sets which you have taken into consideration. That, for example, I want a sales report. So I would say that, okay, get me the tables which are storing the data of sales and inventory, and that's it. But with AI, you are actually not constraining yourself with this data set. You will say that, okay, give me entire data set, whatever it is, right? And I am going to place my LLM model on top of it, and then I'm going
Yeah,
to ask questions to it so that it looks all around and gives me the answer for that particular thing. So I don't have to develop the reports, then I don't need a developer to constantly support me. I don't need any other dashboard to get created, right? I can just ask. And then what happens in dashboards also is that you need to train the executives. Now, if I'm a CXO, if I'm a executive, and I'm seeing a report, right? So I need to click on something, I need to get that data. We are saying with AI chatbots is basically you ask any question, right? I want to say that, okay, what is my year on year sales which has changed and by what percentage,
yeah,
and
yeah,
your chatbot will give you that answer, right? So
yeah.
this is not constrained to a report, because report would have got certain formula which was developed, and that's what the CXO can see. It is very conversational, that is what we say, right? So you start asking questions and you get answers. No need to depend on any report which is either fragmented or which is very static and you get the data, but you ask any questions and you go through it. So
Got it.
so that is more on the
And
chatbot. Now I will give you another example. So now the other example is of images, right? So we are working with one of the clients which wanted to do a marketing, campaigns, and they had a lot of millions of rows of their data, but that marketing campaigns were not effective because they were not personalized, right? So I get a WhatsApp message for my car servicing, but it's just plain lines that, hey, you are going to get this discount, that discount, everything, right? But now I get an image of my city, where I stay, and then a image of my car, and then something specific, right? That this is the offer of changing of your tires or this and that, and then there is a discount. So now that makes me feel a little bit more receptive to that kind of campaigns, because it is very
yeah,
personalized to me. Now Ian is in US, wherever he's staying. Now I put up a photograph of that. Now what is AI doing here? So AI is building 50,000 images in less than 15 minutes of millions of rows for the customer. Now that
yeah,
is something the marketing campaigns are able to do that, right? Then there is another client which we are trying to generate AI of the posts, right? So now you have Instagram, which is very professional. Then you have Facebook, which is more social and more casual, sort of thing, right? Then there is Twitter, which is again, limited with words and, impactful. Now how do I generate my marketing campaign for these three platforms?
mm,
Right,
mm,
so AI is able to do that. We are able to generate those kind of messages for Instagram different, for Facebook different, and for Twitter different, because all the three have different purposes. So now marketing people are seeing a lot of variety, lot of innovation on images, on text, and they are actually trying to put it into their campaigns. And then, how do you get the return on investment? Is that the click ratio, right? How many people actually opened the WhatsApp when this message was sent to them? All right,
yeah.
and then after that, how many people actually applied for the discount or applied for the voucher that you have put in? Now, is there a
Yeah.
difference of that sort?
In terms of um, the contribution that Converge AI is making to this process, I think there are a lot of companies that are literally overwhelmed with where to start with AI. And I think one of the challenges that I'm seeing is this issue that because you can do so many things, you almost end up with analysis paralysis. You don't kind of pick up on anything. From your experiences, what do you suggest people should do to kind of bring this down to a manageable, chunk of this is what I should do next?
Okay, so I think people should first brainstorm on the list of the another challenge with AI is use cases, right? Like you said, that there is a lot of analysis paralysis which is happening. People then they don't know what to start with, right? So we have worked with a client where we actually started and did almost 44 use cases that came out with business, right? That workshop gave out 44 use cases where AI, they felt AI can help them out. but obviously 44 was not the number which the board would have approved, right? So we further streamed it down to two use cases at least to start with. All right, and these
Yeah.
two use cases were something which had the most impact, which had a direct impact on the business, and then which had very clear objectives. Now with AI there is another problem, that if you're not able to create a clear objective of what this AI is going to help me out with, right? Is it accuracy, is it recommendation, is it search that I'm going to get through it, and how it is going to help me out. So I would recommend that first just brainstorm and list down all the use cases. Second, let's get on to the ones which are the most easier one, like we said, the low hanging fruits, right, which
Yeah.
takes around you 6 to 8 weeks, and maybe a 30 to 35 to 50 USD dollars of the fixed cost that you want to have. Go for that. Once you have got this POC done, then you go and show it to the business and say that, hey, this is something we have done it for you. Now let us sit together and try and take leverage of this potential that we are seeing from the technology side of things. And then you get into a projects of 4 months, 6 months, where you actually bring it to life, bring it to production, and then start delivering it to the to the business. So I think that's the way to go through it.
So within, in terms of the ROI period, if you were to go through that process, Sajal, with somebody, at what point do you think they would start to see a visible return on their time and investment in AI? Is it weeks? Is it months? What's your view?
I think with POCs, they will be easily able to actually get their hypothesis or their theory or their proof of concept in 6 weeks. six
Wow.
weeks they will be able to go back to business and say that, hey, this is how your processes will be automated, or there will be a reduction by 70%, 60% in your efforts, right? And
Yeah.
then I think next 4 months we have been able to deliver products which are actual minimum viable products that we call, right, which can be used by businesses. So that is another 4 months. So you can say 6 weeks is around 1.5 month, another 4 months, which is 5.5 months. And I think by 6 month you will start getting your ROI. That is what is the term that I see happening.
Great stuff. Well, Sajal Saxena, thanks for coming on the Positive Habits podcast, first of all. I know as well that you're going to be speaking at the Generation Digital Magazine's annual event on the 24th of October. So looking forward to seeing you there as well. And for anybody watching the podcast channel that we're on, if you want to talk to Sajal directly, then again, I know with the Remo platform we're using for the annual conference, you can do that. So do come along to the conference on the 24th of October. But Sajal, for now, thanks very much for coming on the program, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Ian. It was pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.